Hello there, my beautiful pumpkins, and welcome back to the Pumpkin Patch. If you are new here, hello, my name is Kloee Taylor, and on this channel, I believe that we have the most cozy, autumnal, vibey corner of the internet. So if you like our community, you like the way that I read, be sure to hit that subscribe button and become a member of the Pumpkin Patch. It's free, and you get new videos every single week. So today's video, I am so excited to do. I haven't done one of these in months, and we're doing it a little extra special. As you can see, we've got tea here. So I'm going to tell you about each pile, about each thing and what we're doing. But first, I just want to give an extra special thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. Without all of y'all, we would not be able to do even half the stuff here that is created. So I just want to say thank you so much to my Patreon community. Y'all are the best. I love the community that we have there. And if you are somebody that would like to support my channel more, that is a great way to do it. We put out new content over there every single week, new pick-a-cards that you don't get anywhere else, early access to these readings, as well as weekly energy updates, horoscopes, bonus content, journal prompts, all kinds of things that come over there. So definitely check it out. It's a great way to support me as a creator, and I just appreciate it so much. So thank you again to my patrons on Patreon. Now let's talk about this reading. So we are going to be doing, basically, I'm going to tell you about each tea. We have cards, card piles for every single teacup here. And everybody's favorite, the fan favorites, we have book divination. I was grabbing the books. So if y'all are unfamiliar, book divination is where we just open to a random page in a few select books and we get messages from them. And I always pick the most uplifting books for these videos where we do comforting messages from spirit. So I will break down for you and I will show you the tea mugs and everything, or teacups, much closer in just a moment. And I'll also be sharing all of the different books with you so you can make a selection. Now, you can choose based off of the teacups, you can choose based off of the cards if you just felt something there, or you can choose based off of the books. And I also want to encourage y'all to... You can like mix and match. Maybe you don't want a specific book with a specific card reading. I'm going to timestamp the card selections as well as the book selections. So you can listen to all of the books, one of the books, you can listen to just cards. But ultimately, the intention behind this reading is that I'm going to be channeling in messages from your angels, your spirit guides, and anything comforting that your soul or your tired heart just needs to hear right now. I love doing these readings because I think all of us can use that gentleness. And sometimes we don't even know how to be gentle on ourselves. And so getting these messages from spirit that just really soothe our tired soul and maybe even give us the rest that we need. So I want you to use this reading like it is a time period of rest for you. So get your coziest blanket, your coziest sweater, get some tea, some coffee, maybe some wine if that's your vibe. Light your fireplace if the weather is appropriate and you have the wood to spare. You know, really make this a cozy moment for you. Maybe even slip into a bath and put this up on your phone or something, away from the water, of course. But just really take this moment for yourself. And we're going to see what comforting messages Spirit has for you. So allow me to explain the different piles now, the different selections that we have here, and I'll show you the mugs up closer. So for pile number 1, we have this beautiful green or like teal mug that has this gold embossing to it or gold edging to it. The tea inside is a raspberry leaf tea. So we'll talk about that in the specific reading for pile number 1. And the book that I have decided to give to pile number 1 that is a correspondence to it is our 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think by Brianna Wiest. If you're not familiar with Brianna Wiest, we've used another book on the channel before called You Are the Mountain, or maybe it's The Mountain Is You. She is phenomenal. This is another fantastic read. I will link all the books down below as well for you if you want to get them for yourself. But we'll be doing book divination for this book with pile number 1, and I'll also be timestamping it in case you want to just listen to the book. Then for pile number 2 here, we have this beautiful piece of what I am calling traditional china. This is actually my wedding china. It is called Love Story, and I don't even think you can get it anymore. Like, they just don't make it anymore. But it's called Love Story, and it's this beautiful white cup with this silver design to it. The whole set has hearts, like a big heart on it as well. It's really beautiful. And the book that we are going to be using with this is going to be Alexandra Solando's The Book of Light, Ask and Heaven Will Answer. So there's also a lot of like light language on this book as well. These are messages that are channeled in as well from this author. So very cool. And the tea inside this mug is a birthday tea. So it is a Harney & Sons. I'll be linking all the tea down below as well if I can find it. It is a Harney & Sons birthday celebration tea. It is one of my personal favorites. So we'll talk about that, like I said, more in the reading with pile number 2. And finally, pile number 3, y'all might recognize this little teacup because it is the one that is in the intro of every single one of my videos, at least for the time being. There is a new intro being planned and shot. So I say it like I'm not the one producing the whole intro. It's not that fancy. I don't have a team or anything. I'm just doing it, but I am planning to do a new one. But this mug, it's one of our little pink ones with the gold edging to it. It was my first tea set, at least that I bought as an adult. And I will also try to link the tea sets down below too if you're interested. All the links basically for y'all. And inside the mug, we do have a butterfly pea tea. I know it's hard to tell, but the tea is actually a purple color. So really beautiful. And the book that we are going to be using is our tried and true Light is the New Black, which is a guide to answering your soul's calling and working your light by Rebecca Campbell. So one of my personal favorites. I've read this book multiple times, always good messaging behind it. So that is for the selection. I'm going to go ahead and be quiet and give you some time to meditate. I feel like this has just been a very long intro talking about everything. So I'm just going to let you lead yourself through this. Let your heart decide. You can choose to listen to all of them or 2 of them or just one. Totally up to you. Let's go ahead and turn the meditation music up and then we'll get into it. All right, so pile number 1, we are starting out with some oracle cards, but before we even jump into these, I want to talk to you a little bit about your tea. So the tea that we have for you is that beautiful raspberry leaf tea, and raspberry leaf is traditionally used for helping like the endocrine system. That's like a big use for it. It's very like, obviously that's not going to be for everybody, but I feel like the intention that I felt when I was putting this tea together was really about dipping into your divine feminine energy. And that doesn't matter how you identify, it is genderless. But the divine feminine is more about leaning back and receiving instead of having to go out and work really, really, really hard. So this is more about asking yourself how you can be open to receive more. And something that Spirit really wanted me to touch on with this is when it comes to receiving, I'm not just talking about, oh, like just like lay on the couch and do nothing but stress. Nah. Even when it comes to like people giving you gifts, do you say, oh no, you shouldn't have? Or do you just say thank you and accept the gift? It's even in like the little things. You're being asked just to be receptive and to open yourself up to more, because so many of us have been taught that we're not allowed to receive, that it's, oh no, now we have to pay that person back, or we have to get them a gift, or, we immediately start putting all of these rules on how things should be, when the universe literally could have just sent somebody out of the blue to give you the gift of exactly what you need right now. And instead, just say thank you. And I know it takes time to work on that. Trust me, I used to be a chronic apologizer or a chronic people pleaser, and I've really worked hard for a few years to step out of that and just to say thank you and to be grateful. And it takes time. It takes reconditioning when we've been taught that it's like disrespectful just to accept something. So that was the big message there. Now let's talk about these cards, and then we have some more cards as well, and then we'll get into your book. So we have Lost Lands, Soul Memories and Gifts. You've done this before. I'm sorry, defenselessness, righting past wrongs and uprooting, water your garden, nourishment, what does that say? I'm sorry, I'm a little far away. Body care, tenderness, and rest. And then a new earth. It's happening. Keep holding the vision. So what I'm seeing for you is right now, you are really hurting. Whenever I see the I'm sorry card, this card really bubbles the emotions up in me, because this often is us feeling a lot of discontentment in life for some reason. It could be with another person, or it could just be that you feel like you failed yourself in some way. And it really breaks my heart when I see this, because I believe that if you're here listening to this reading, you genuinely need to hear it. And knowing that you feel that much guilt or that much like almost like resentment towards self in some way just hurts. Like, it hurts my heart. So I'm so sorry that you are feeling less than or downtrodden in any way. But the thing is, right now, being hard on yourself, it's time to face that and tell yourself that you're sorry for being so hard on yourself. Meet that shadow aspect of yourself and just give it love, because that's really what you're missing. Is you just need love and connection with yourself and with the world around you. And with water your garden, this is really about literally that, watering your garden. It could be actually literally like tending to your plants if you have them, but watering your garden, nourishment, body care, tenderness, rest. In today's world, rest is one of the most simple ways and acts of love that we can give back to ourselves. And yet it's the thing that most of us don't make or don't have the time for. And Spirit is ultimately saying that you need to get to the root of the issue. If there is, like, because we even have like uprooting, right? You need to get to the root of the issue. If there's a reason that you feel like you can't rest without guilt, it's time for you to start diving deeper into why you hold on to that. Where does that guilt come from? Even if it was programmed in by a parent or a guardian or someone else, it's time to start pulling that out by the root. And that is the best way that you're going to be able to start getting actual rest, is by going in there and doing the work that is really, it's hard. It's hard work. It's hard work to go in and deal with our trauma, deal with our discontentment, our anxiety, our worry, what have you. It's not easy. Nobody said it was easy. But there's a reason that your body and nervous system are signaling to you that you cannot rest. And it needs to be your number one priority right now to uncover why that is, and then figure out a way to get the help that you need so that you can start holding a new vision for your life. Because we also have a new earth. It's happening. Keep holding the vision. And Lost Lands, Soul Memories and Gifts, you've done this before. So you've also encountered a similar, it's almost like, I'm hearing the word from Spirit, like you feel like you have like a soul sickness. Like sometimes we get physically sick, right? But sometimes our soul just craves so much more that it feels injured. And for you, it is so important that you are having this surface for you, because it is something that in this lifetime you need to learn to dissipate it in any way that you can. And this reading hurts. It hurts because I can feel how much you're hurting. And I just want you to know, just from like a person to another human being, I may not know exactly what your situation is like, but I know what it feels like to feel like you have to be on the hamster wheel. Like you have to work because you have to pay the bills, because you have to take care of so-and-so, because if you don't do all of these things, your whole world is going to fall apart. You're going to be houseless or without food or without... I know what that feels like, to be in such a state of survival that you can't even see beyond that state of survival. And Spirit brought you to this reading to tell you that it can be easier. There can be a different way. And allowing yourself to start doing the mental and emotional work behind what it's going to take to get there is why you're being brought to your knees right now. Because there is a grander vision for your life that is trying to emerge, but in order to kind of like cleanse yourself into it, you have to really work on what is hurting first. And there are so many ways to do this. Like and I'm just going to give you the advice that I feel like I would give to myself when I was going through those really hard times. You don't have to spend a bunch of money to get better. Like, I feel like I'm hearing a lot about like finances for some reason. Like Spirit is saying to give like more information on financial things, because I think there is an outcry for more gentleness, more tenderness and love in the world. And a lot of us feel like that is a luxury that we can't afford. And there are ways that it can be done without that. We can start spending more time in nature. That's free. And I know that that sounds maybe too easy, but I promise if you committed to a daily nature practice, it would literally change your life. If that was what you felt called to. Something I always recommend, and you can see if you can find it at your library. I really liked this book. It helped me, and that's the only reason I'm bringing it up, is Dr. Nicole LePera's book, How to Do the Work. I know not everybody is a fan of her work, but from my own personal experience, it has been nothing but helpful for me. And I feel like it is work that our planet needs right now. It's different than every other psychological avenue. And How to Do the Work, I'll link it down below. How to Do the Work by Dr. Nicole LePera. To me, in my experience of going through multiple kinds of therapy, working, being privileged enough to be able to do that, I feel like this book does the same thing. The same things that I was doing in the therapy office, I could do at home with this book if I had the discipline to work through it on my own. Which I also will say, if you're able to, maybe consider working with a therapist or somebody. Like, I would never, don't use my readings as medical advice, please, ever. You'd be using them wrong if that is how you're using them. But I am not a trained medical professional or a psychologist or a psychiatrist or anything of the sort. But if you're able to, consider that for working through this, because I sense that it is a deep hurt. And a lot of times when it comes up, it's scary and it's hard. But in order to uproot it and move forward, you have to go through that denseness and move it away from you. And the hardest part will just be that original, I think you're already in it, to be honest. If this card is coming out, I feel like you're already in the hardest part. So from here, all you can do is go up. Okay, so yeah, totally. Because we also have for you the Fool and we have Death. So the Death card, this card, to me, it is a transmutation. It's a transmutation of, it's literally letting the old life slough away and come off while we venture into the new life. And the Fool is coming out to tell you, like, where you feel like you haven't been excited about life, that is the energy that is returning to you as you do this work, as you forgive yourself, as you work through it. And some of you maybe don't even feel like it's quite that bad. Some of you really do, though, and that's why I took the time to focus there. But if you don't feel like it's quite that bad, maybe you're already getting there and the lightness is returning. This is a confirmation from Spirit that this part of your life is not the rest of your life. It is just a sliver of what you will experience. And that magnetic, fun, loving, free, carefree energy, you will get it back. Maybe you were there once and you feel like you've lost it. Look, pile number 1, you also have the Magician, which is another, like, you are so powerful and you have what it takes to transmute what you're going through. You have what it takes to move beyond this and not let this be the all-consuming thing. I promise you. And we also have the 6 of Cups. And the 6 of Cups is like loving and nurturing relationships. And, oh, I kind of cut this one off here. It's like loving and nurturing relationships from the past, maybe connecting with family if that's something that feels like it calls to you, or like friends that feel like family, manifesting just really good high frequency energy entering your life in the form of people and gratitude and abundance, because look at all these flowers that are growing out as well. That to me speaks of abundance. And then we also have for you transmute. I literally have been sitting here. I swear I have been sitting here talking about like transiting, transition, transmuting. Are you kidding? You also literally got the card transmute. I cannot. Oh gosh, I love tarot. I love how on the nose it can be sometimes. So with transmute, this is literally about moving from one phase of life to another. And you're not going to get there by ignoring the way that you feel. You're not going to get there by putting your head down. That maybe worked at one time for you. It might have even worked for generations of people before you. But that's not who you are. You are the cycle breaker. You are the person that has come to do it differently. And maybe, as we've said in Lost Lands up here, you've done this before. Maybe you did do it before somewhere in your generational line in a past life. And I'm getting the chills as I said that. So yeah, you've done this before and it didn't work out satisfactory. So you've come back to change the generational line again. And I want to mention something here that Spirit is also reminding me that with generational stuff, you don't have to make everybody in your generational line believe and think the way that you think to heal your generational line. Just by being your most authentic self, walking your own path and healing, you already do that work just by existing in that frequency. You don't have to go out there and like make other people change. I think that's something that a lot of us forget. And then we also have the Sage for you. So the Sage card tells me that this experience, actually, I feel really called. Where is it? Do I have it out? I do. I have the book. We're still going to read the other book as well, but I have the book for these cards, and I just want to see what it says about the Sage in particular, because I'm feeling pulled to it. Sometimes I will use the book if I feel called. So it says, the Sage encourages you to see things from a higher perspective. Sage loves teachers. Excuse me. Sage love teaches others, but knows when and when not to share their thoughts with others. Oh my gosh. Why do I even say shit? I literally divined this card before I even put it down. It's literally talking about like being so wise, but not holding the space of needing to change other people into understanding your way of wisdom. Does that, like, literally everything I just said, that's what this card is about. So I'm not even going to bother. That's hilarious. Maybe that was why I was meant to look at the book, because I was about to repeat myself. So this is about also walking your own path. And that is the path that you're on right now, is this place of freedom and literally freedom. Are you, okay. I'm just going to stop trying to go backwards in the cards and just start showing them to you as I'm going, because this is crazy how connected it has been with what I've been saying. So with freedom, you literally, if you have felt like a caged bird or a caged animal, you are gaining your freedom from all of this. Especially if this has been a long cycle or even a more recent one, you are gaining freedom from this situation. And that is why you're here. Spirit wants you to know that this is not going to last forever. You are working through it. The more you commit yourself to your own healing path, the freer and freer and freer you get to become. So I love it. I love it. I love it. Beautiful. Now we have blessings. So from this, you're also going to be receiving blessings. Blessings upon your family, on your lineage, on yourself, on what you create, on who you touch, on the path that you move forward through. You are going to be feeling so blessed. Oh, this is going to be like one of the most beautiful and blessed chapters of your life. I can feel it. Then we have empowerment. So where I told you that, like, where you feel like life has just been like maybe a little bit more dull and heartbreaking, you're coming into self-empowerment. Like, you're not going to need, that's another thing with the sage, is you're coming to a place of understanding that you don't need to change other people and their opinions to make yourself happy. You only need to empower yourself, and that is all the courage and strength that you need. Oh, you're coming into such a great, like, I'm excited for you. I feel excited now. So the last two cards that we have for you before we get into the book, we have things are not what they seem. You are only trapped by your illusion. What freedom do you seek? Oh my gosh. Especially if you feel like that thing with money that I was talking about earlier, if you feel like you don't have like time or money to move through the density that you're experiencing, literally, this is the message. Things are not what they seem. You are only trapped by your illusion. What freedom do you seek? And something else I want to mention that Spirit is bringing up again, in that book that I talked about, the one by Dr. Nicole LePera, she really addresses in that book this basically, when we don't commit to anything in our life for ourselves, or we feel like we're going to fail before we even get started, wherever that happens in our life, we will often just stop trying. And when we recommit to something small every single day, this actually reinstills faith in ourselves that we are able to create change in our life. And your commitment, even if it is something so tiny, like waking up and brushing your teeth, maybe for some of y'all, that's hard. Like, I know that for some of you, you're like, what? I brush my teeth every day. No, sometimes when you're in the thick of it, when you are feeling like down and depressed, that is one of the hardest things, is to get out of bed and brush your teeth. Committing to something small every day. And the more that you do it, you'll be able to build on that commitment. I promise it can be that small to bring you out of where you've been. It doesn't have to be this like big, expensive spiritual retreat. It doesn't have to be this, like, that's really what Spirit is wanting to remind you, is like, it doesn't have to be this like, I need a month away in solitude and I need to spend like X amount of money, clear up all my debt, blah, 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 and then I'll feel better. It's like, yes, work on those things, of course, as you see fit, but committing back to yourself and resting into it, we need to figure out first why we feel like we can't rest and move forward in that direction and start to create a life that will allow us the rest and the safety even in the middle of chaos, basically. I hope I'm making sense. The channel's coming in kind of weird. So the last card we have is it's all in divine order. Allow. How can you relax into the flow and go with the current of life? I'm not even going to elaborate on that. I feel like that's everything I've been saying. Wow. Your reading was so powerful. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to get into the book Divination now. So we're going to be reading from 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think by Brianna Wiest. I will link this book down below if you're interested. We're just going to set the intention together now. What does pile one or anybody coming and listening to just the book message, what message do we need to hear right now? Okay, so we have the importance of stillness and why it's an imperative to make time to do nothing. Wow, this is like right on the money. Okay, so it says, we're conditioned to associate stillness with inactivity and inactivity with failure. We're trained to be overworked and to believe that if, at any point, we aren't doing something that contributes to our goals, we're not doing anything. It makes us unable to just be with ourselves. Our purpose only legitimate if it is serving someone or something else. In fact, we are so opposed to being with ourselves. In a study done by the University of Virginia, over 700 people were asked to just sit in a room alone with their thoughts for 6 to 15 minutes, alongside a shock button that they could press if ever they wanted out. 67% of men and 25% of women chose to shock themselves rather than sit quietly and think. Stillness is psychologically imperative, though we are not built to be running all the time, and doing so leads to absolutely detrimental effects, the least of which I will touch on here. When overworking is our identity, we lose track of who we actually are, and in the process, we stop living actual lives. The idea that we must always be doing something is completely cultural and completely unhealthy. Notice how we only feel we are doing something when that something can be externally measured by other people. Did that say number 1? Oh, my bad. Let me go back and read that part again. What we call doing nothing is actually crucial for our psychological selves and is essential to maintain a happy, peaceful, balanced life. The idea that we must always be doing something is completely cultural and completely unhealthy. Notice how we only feel we are doing something when that something can be externally measured by other people. Number 2, in the do-nothing state, the brain is superpowering itself. It's completing unconscious tasks or integrating and processing conscious experiences. In the resting state, neural networks can produce experiences, consolidate memories, reinforce learning, regular attention and emotions, and in turn keep us more productive and effective in our day-to-day work. Number 3, human beings are not designed to be continually expanding energy. While conscious, and it has a massive effect on the very thing they're trying to put their energy toward, their work. Wait, what? Okay, just going to keep going. Tony Schwartz has cited a study in his piece on productivity and restfulness in the New York Times, which provided that not getting enough sleep or do-nothing time was the highest predicator of the on-the-job burnout. Another Harvard study he cited estimated that sleep deprivation costs American companies $63.2 billion a year in lost productivity. When you do not sit and allow yourself to reflect, number 4, when you do not sit and allow yourself to reflect, reconcile, and acknowledge what you feel, you actively give said feelings more power. Stephanie Brown argues, there's the widespread belief that thinking and feeling will only slow you down and get in your way, but it's the opposite. Most psychotherapists would contend that suppressing negative feelings only gives them more power, leading to intrusive thoughts, which can prompt people to be even busier to avoid them. Number 5, creativity thrives in stillness and nothingness. Creativity is fostered in the state of stepping away from the project, task, or issue at hand and distracting oneself with other day-to-day tasks. Countless studies show that people who are deeply creative on a consistent basis, who develop the most innovative and unique ideas are the ones who free themselves from structure and allow their minds to wander rather than focus on various tasks at hand. Einstein called this initiating the sacred intuitive mind, as opposed to the rational mind, which he sees as its servant. Number 6, you're more likely to actually achieve what you set out to do if you work on it intermittently, and you'll maintain a healthier, happier lifestyle in the process. Keeping your mind in a consistent state of focus leads to life shortening and quality depletion. Stress And while you're in the process of neglecting the things that also matter, your health, your family, your state of mind, you're more likely to reach your saturation point and simply give up on what you were devoting all of the time and energy to in the first place. Number 7, it helps you become more mindful, more aware of the present moment. Cultivating mindfulness aids in reducing general stress, improving memory, decreasing emotional reactivity, more relationship satisfaction, cognitive flexibility, empathy, compassion, general decrease of anxiety, depression, and an increase of overall quality of life, and on and on. Number 8, it's not taking a break or time away from what you are actually supposed to be doing. It's what human beings were designed for. Tim Kreider argues, idleness is not just a vacation, an indulgence or a vice. It is indispensable to the brain as vitamin D. It is to the body and as vitamin D is to the body. And deprived of it, we suffer a mental affliction as disfigured as rickets. The space and quiet that idleness provides is a necessary condition for standing back from life and seeing it whole, for making unexpected connections and waiting for the wild summer lightning strikes of inspiration. It is paradoxically necessary in getting any work done. Dang, your reading literally just called you out. Ma'am, this is a Wendy's. Like, excuse me? Rest, my sweet, beautiful baby. Rest, please. Truly, like, if I can give you any like personal account, which I do like to do in my readings sometimes, I'm just now at the point where I'm feeling like really like my old self. And there's still moments where like anxiety creeps up and I have to work through that. But I went through a mental health crisis in 2021, literally in crisis. And for like 7 months, I was just not myself. And you could tell my channel, I produced like a few videos a month. I wasn't really producing the way that I had been. I wasn't creating anything new. I didn't feel as inspired. And now, as I've actually taken that rest point, which was really scary because, what I do, it is my livelihood as well. And that was very scary to take a break like that. And I didn't feel like I could, but I had to. It was like I was at such a critical point of crisis that if I did not take a break, trigger warning, mental health, I don't think I would still be here. Like I had to stop and take that break and take that time. And once I did, I finally feel like all of my energy to create has come back. And that's why I'm producing like way more content lately, because I feel so much better. And I feel like taking that big break out really gave me that creativity back. So just so you're aware, like even I deal with these things too. And I can say from personal experience that it is true. When you actually give yourself that idle time and figure out why you feel like you can't rest and start resting intentionally, it will change the way that you live. So I hope this message reached you well, my beautiful pumpkin. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Don't forget to check out my Instagram, my TikTok. I'm at Kloee Taylor. If you would like to join the Patreon, definitely come and check it out. Like I said, you get a whole library of content, readings that you won't get anywhere else, weekly energy updates, cards of the month, horoscopes, and so much more. And definitely don't forget to check out the podcast, Divine Authenticity, available everywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you would like to support me further, it is never an expectation, but always, always appreciated. I have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal listed down below for you as well. I do accept tips for my readings, but again, I do not expect them. And that is what I have for you, my beautiful pumpkin. I will catch you in the next reading. I hope you have a magical rest of your day and stay cozy. Bye. Hello there, pile number 2. If you chose the traditional wedding china, this is my wedding china, so that's why we're calling it that. You have the birthday tea in here, and birthday tea, at least the intention that I really came to when I was brewing this tea for you, is the birthday tea. It's about a celebration to you, a celebration of life, a celebration of where you currently are and honoring that. You know, I know we wait 364 days and to celebrate a birthday, if you celebrate your birthday. We wait until then. And I feel like on one hand, this is the notion of every day can be your birthday. Every day can be a celebration. I'm hearing that song, right? I know it's totally different context, but that Katy Perry song, I'll make it like your birthday every day. I think it's literally called Birthday. And the other thing is that some of you are so disconnected from celebrating yourselves because you had not witnessed people celebrating themselves, or they taught you that like you aren't worthy of celebration, that you don't even like to celebrate your birthday. Like that gives you anxiety or makes you feel some kind of way when you are worthy of that celebration. So message number one, just from the T. And we're going to look at these oracle cards that I have out here for you. And then we have even more cards. And then of course, we'll get into the book Divination at the end. So we have for you, surrender to the sweetness, Venus energy, pleasure, joy, make love to life. All paths lead home with inner authority, intuition, turn your gaze inward. Then we have your life as a canvas, artist, manifestation, creative accountability. And then we have perspective. None of this matters. Zoom out, common ground. So I feel like the gentle message that I'm getting from these is that it's okay for you to surrender to pleasure, to joy, to good things. Often when something good happens for us, we are immediately afraid that the other shoe is going to drop. And I think that that comes from, not all the time, but that often will come from people that used that as a manipulation tactic, would do things or provide things for us and then expect some kind of exchange back, or would punish if they didn't get what they wanted, or use that, oh, after I just bought this for you or did this for you and you can't even give me your time. It's this like expectation, right, of a gift or of sweetness for your life. And maybe it takes time for you to really get into that Venetian or Venusian like energy, which Venus is that planet of love, of pleasure, of joy, right? And with all paths lead home, you are currently in a place of rediscovering yourself. I'm hearing for you, this could come across as maybe the mind-body connection. There is something about carrying yourself back home to yourself right now. And I'm feeling this like big sense of relief wash over my body as I'm channeling this. And I feel like for you, that's what you're on the path of looking for relief. And Spirit wants you to know that even right now in this moment that you are here listening to this, you are receiving healing on a cellular level. Like, I've never had this happen before, but while I'm channeling, I can see like sacred geometry. Like when I close my eyes, I see sacred geometry, and I see that there are literally like light beings around you giving your energetic field healing and helping you to come back to a state of peace. And then with your life as a canvas, artist, manifestation, creative accountability, excuse me, Spirit is saying that, especially if you are somebody that creates, which I believe everybody is creative and they want to create. It doesn't mean that you're going to be like career-based artist, but I believe that it is innately human to desire to create. And Spirit is saying that in order to come back to yourself, to surrender, to get more into the sweetness of life, you have to start carving out time to create, no matter what it looks like for you. Journaling, painting. I like to build Legos. That's creative for me, and it makes me feel good. It connects me to my inner child. It could be learning how to make teas and tinctures, herbalism. It can be anything that you make with your hands or even with your voice. Maybe it's like making tracks of music or meditations or creating videos, creating in some way. Your soul is desiring not just creativity. Ooh, that was cool. I also just saw, like, I don't have any incense or anything going in this room right now. And it was like I saw like black smoke. Like you're also getting like cleansing. Like you're reading, you're getting like energy work during this reading. That's really cool. So the thing is with creative accountability though, Spirit is wanting you to set aside practice, I would say daily if it's possible, but at the very least weekly, and not being creative for the sake of monetization. Being creative because it feels good, because you need to expel that creative energy for yourself without needing it to be looked at by someone else, if that makes sense. And lastly, with the perspective card, none of this matters, zoom out, common ground. I feel like if you're struggling right now with people that have opposing opinions of you, or there's a lot of polarity going on in your life and that's really got you down, Spirit just wants those of you that are feeling that way to remember that the perspective is so much grander than you. It's so much grander than what goes on in your immediate field. There are billions of people on the planet that are experiencing life, that are doing day-to-day things. And it doesn't mean that you are insignificant. It means that we are all collectively experiencing together. And you need to zoom out of your current tension and frustration, because right now you're really, 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 really zoomed in. And when you zoom in, you start to try to micromanage people and the universe and everything around you instead of letting things flow naturally in your realm. So I feel like Spirit really wants that for you to zoom out. Maybe even looking at like, if you can look at like YouTube footage of planet Earth from space, or maybe even connecting with more like online communities of people. I'm hearing that like getting out of your current sphere will be really helpful for you. So we also have for you the Seven of Swords. We have the Queen of Crystals. We have the Page of Swords and the Queen of Cups. So I feel like you have two queen cards, which I feel like the Queen of Crystals on one hand is very like courageous, very, that's not the word I'm looking for, very outgoing, very, what is the word? I've totally lost it. It's confident, has like a lot of confidence to her. And the Queen of Cups is somebody that I would say both are confident in their own way. The Queen of Crystals is very like outward exuberant confidence. Like people can see her confidence. Where the Queen of Cups, she doesn't need any sort of, well, I wouldn't say the Queen of Crystals needs validation either, but the Queen of Cups, it's a very internal thing. There is no showing it to other people. It's not necessary. It's a very internally validated. And I think what Spirit is saying, especially those of you that are dealing with others, it's time to start validating your experience and your beliefs from within, and then allow yourself to carry yourself through life like that. You don't need other people to be on your side. You don't need other people to believe in what you believe. And you don't need to like cut people out because of a different belief either. It's like you are allowed, of course, to guard your energy. Look at this. Remember how I talked about how you were having like an energy healing right now? These are literally hands like holding a ball of energy. Isn't that so crazy? I feel like tarot is so on the nose sometimes. And even the way this cup is being held, like levitated, like with energy. I don't know. I love it. Anyways, sorry. That was a total side note from what I was saying. But with with not needing to convince others of your truth, it's really about honoring and owning your own truth from within and not letting what other people say or think determine how you're going to believe and think and like talk about yourself and your experiences. And the the Seven of Swords is also here to remind you that, like, even if you're afraid of like people talking about you or saying things about you behind your back, it always is going to say way more about them, and you are protected. Like if this is them, these swords up here, and this is you, you are so protected by spirit. You are so protected, and you don't need to concern yourself of the words and judgments of others. And the Page of Swords, this is also about standing in your own authentic truth, standing up for yourself, living your own path, going your own authentic way, and not allowing what other people think of you to determine how you will be. We also have for you the card of power and the card of strength. So I feel like spirit, I love the card of power. That to me is a direct symbol that correlates to the Queen of Crystals. It's standing in your own power, claiming your own personal power, claiming your energetic field as yours. Because often if we share our energy with somebody else, no matter how it is, with conversation, with being in closeness, however we share of it, sometimes we will slowly let our energy leak out of us. And for you, you're on the path of reclaiming that. And spirit is literally in this moment helping you do it. And you are only going to become stronger through the process to regain strength. Now, I'm going to look at the book for this strength card because I don't know that we've seen it before. Like, this is why I love reading tarot for other people online. One of the many reasons is that when I read, I often pull cards for others that I don't see for myself. So I get to like learn new cards as I read. But this card, Strength, it says, this card indicates a time where you need to tap into your reserve of strength and resilience. There may be things coming up in your life right now that require your courage and the willingness to be uncomfortable. Our ability to adjust to any transition, loss, or change will depend on our patience in riding out the storm. Sometimes we have to do this without a map. Whatever is coming up for you right now, understand that it will pass, and you just need to believe that you will move through it. So not only are you going to move through it, but you're going to become more of yourself through the process. And I think that that is something to be celebrated. So maybe that's the celebration that you're tapping into. I also want to say a specific message for at least two of you I'm hearing here that are listening. With this china, and we have celebration tea, birthday celebration tea inside. And this china, like I said, this is my wedding china. So it like symbolizes that of like matrimony or engagement or celebration of love in some way. This, for some of you, just like I said, it's not going to be everybody, but some of you actually might be getting engaged like over Valentine's Day or sometime within the next 4 weeks, I'm hearing. So that might be like a challenge that is upcoming for you where you're blending families, and maybe that leads to some like, weddings are chaotic. Like I would have loved to have been that person that can tell you that like, oh, my wedding was so peaceful. No, girl, it was not. No. And not just girl, everybody in between. No, it was not. It was a chaotic time. And weddings can be that way. So that might be something that is upcoming for some of you. Now, we also have for you the card of trust. So I think this is also, actually, let me read these like this so you can see them. So we have the card of trust. I love that this figure is kind of standing out over an ocean's cliffside. It almost looks like she's making her way like into the water, or maybe is going to jump and is like focused on the sun that's coming through the clouds here. And I feel like what Spirit wants you to know is that it's okay to trust yourself on this path right now. It's okay to go, like, she's kind of moving very similarly to how this figure is moving here, which talks about all paths lead home. So even if it feels strange and different, like a path you've never journeyed down, Spirit also really wants to confirm to you that it's okay to trust the path that you're on. And then we also have Spirit Guide. I knew there was significant, like, I'm always working with Spirit Guides. Like, it tends to be Spirit Guides, angels. But I knew that your pile in particular, your cup and your book and all of that in particular, yours has a very strong, like, guidance, healing. There was just a lot more. Like, don't get me wrong, guides show up for these readings, but I can feel that there's even a higher presence here right now. Like maybe even like a deity or something is here. I can't place it specifically. I can't place them specifically, but I feel like there is even like a higher divine presence here in the reading, because I keep like seeing things too that I don't normally see. And I keep telling you as they're happening, but your spirit guides, they really are here for you at this time. And some of you just needed that confirmation. Maybe you've been asking for them to reach out. Maybe you've been asking for help. Your guides want you to know that they have not left. They're right here with you. Everything is going exactly according to plan, and you can call on them for support at any point in time. And then we have clarity. So through this experience of coming back home to yourself, gaining this confidence, gaining perspective, making this creative time and calling all of your power back. Sorry if you could hear that. My husband's out in the kitchen making noise. But you are gaining clarity in the process, clarity about your life. You might even find that your psychic gifts are very heightened right now, especially as you're getting this energy clearing. We have the Queen of Cups here, what that is like a more psychic or intuitive card. So you might find that your gifts psychically are being very enhanced or heightened right now, and you're gaining more clarity on your life. Let me look at this a little bit closer. Ooh, inside this card, there's little like birds. There's birds, and it looks like there's a moon. There's definitely like psychic vision, I feel like. I don't know if y'all can see. No, you really can't. Okay. I don't keep autofocus on with this camera because it jumps around too much, so I can't show you, unfortunately, but I do feel like there's definitely something about psychic vision. And then before we get into your book, we have a couple more cards for you. So we do have the universe rewards motion. What guided action can you take today? So this to me is very much in line with your life as a canvas, taking that creative accountability, because the universe rewards motion. So, and like every card here that has a person moving, aside from maybe the Queen of Cups, everybody is moving. Notice there isn't really a lot of like meditative cards going on here. Spirit wants you, like, especially those of you that have felt like really stuck, like maybe in bed or stuck at home, or have really just felt like you can't do things. Spirit is saying, please commit, please recommit to something. And they're not saying that with like an ounce of shame or trying to shame you. It's literally just a commit to waking up at a certain time each day, even if that time is 2 p.m., right? It doesn't have to be 6 o'clock in the morning. Commit to waking up and putting on clothes, not just like pajamas. Commit, especially, like I said, to an art practice, something that gets you into your creativity, no matter what it is. Even if you don't feel like it's good, maybe you just write a bunch of haikus and poetry and such, and you feel like they're all garbage, but Spirit is ultimately saying that something good is going to come out of this. They just want your commitment. So commit to some form of practice for yourself. And lastly, we have come together. We need each other. Where have you been separating yourself or pushing against others and the world? I'm going to let that be a message in and of itself, because I feel like this just kind of echoes the perspective card. And look at that. we have angel number 44. That's one of my lucky angel numbers, 44. It's like a number that's, if y'all need some stories, maybe you want to start using number 44. When I moved to the state of Washington, it was a very hard time. Like I haven't talked a lot about it unless you listen to my podcast, which I talked about it a lot, but it was a very, very, very hard time in my life last October. And that was probably one of the most stressful time periods I have ever gone through. And that was what I told Spirit before I left my previous home to come to this one. I said, can you just show me number 44? Show me 44 so that I will know that I am on the right journey, that I'm on the right path, that I'm doing the right thing, that this is the right choice. I literally saw 44 everywhere for the like however many hours. I think it was like a 14-hour drive, moving all of my stuff. And I literally saw it, I swear to you, every 5 minutes of the trip, constantly. 44 was everywhere. And even today, when I had like a stressful situation come up in my life, I didn't even need to ask for it. The universe, after I was like, you know what, everything's going to be taken care of, blah, 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 blah. The universe showed me a 44 without me even needing to ask. So 44, really powerful number of like being guided on your path and reclaiming your own personal power. So that is what we have for the tarot for you, pile number 2. Let's go ahead and take a look at your book, which, or anybody who just chose this book from the timestamps. We're going to be flipping to a random page from this book, The Book of Light by Alexandra Solanato, excuse me. So we're just going to set the intention together really quick. Spirit of the highest love and compassion, what message does pile number 2 or anybody coming in to listen to this book message need to hear? What message do we need to hear? Okay, we got number 148, which says blockage. When the journey is unfavorable, the more you strive to move forward, the harder the universe will try to stop you. When it is not yet time for something to happen, the more you strive to make it happen, the harder the universe tries to block you. When an issue is just starting to surface, the more you strive to speed it up, the more the universe tries to hold you up so that things will have time to unfold. The universe is wise, the energetic system is perfect, and the ego ruins everything. If something is energetically blocked, it is because mysterious forces know that this is not meant to happen, at least not now. But man insists, keeps pushing forward, insists. They want it. Consequently, they begin to attract all types of problems, from delays to insecurities, depression, accidents, sorrows, failures, betrayals, loss, illness, and so on. And the ego looks at all of this, cursing its bad luck. It is unable to recognize that these are the consequences of its own actions, rather than actions themselves. The ego is unable to understand why it attracts so much loss. The ego is unable to understand that it attracts all this loss because of the forces it puts into things. The consciousness, however, understands. The soul understands. It is the question of expanding your consciousness and yielding to your soul. And you will come to understand that from up here, everything seems absolutely perfect. And I will love you for realizing this with all of my love. I feel really called to read this one too. I don't know why, so we're going to read a second one. This one says the answer. Everything that happens in life has a purpose. Everything that happens, even the tiniest things you attract, have a reason for being there, for happening precisely the way at the specific moment in that exact place. Everything therein, matter, is utterly perfect so that you, human beings, can respond accordingly. In accordance with who you are, of course. In accordance with who you choose to be in that situation, at that time, and in that location. At this point, you might ask, how does a place such as the physical world, which is so dense and heavy, respond to such subtle impulses with such perfection? And the answer is simple. You live in an energetic system, and this system functions at any frequency. If someone is dense, they will attract dense people and situations via the energetic system. If someone is light, they will attract people and situations that are light. It is simple, as everything is when seen from up here. Therefore, and going back to what I said earlier, the situation you find yourself in the present is trying to tell you something. It is trying to show you things, to get you in touch with your emotions, to get you to change your belief system so that you will open your mind and believe in new opportunities, including new opportunities for you as a person. The issue here is, what does all of this mean? Why do you find yourself in this situation? What are you meant to learn from all of this? I may even be able to answer you from up here, but in order for me to do so, you will have to come up here. There is one thing that you must accept, and that is that you do not have the answer and you will not find it down there. So do I say, look for the answer in your higher self, or if you will recall how, close your eyes, relax, and ask, what is the universe trying to tell me by this way of the situation? Remain as you are, empty. Do not focus on anything. Just ask the question. And tune into your sensibility. Be intuitive. Be perceptive. You will believe that you are imagining things, but you are not. That is the answer. Ooh, I got the chills. I knew that second one was for y'all. Especially with the Queen of Cups coming out in your reading, like being intuitive, calling in your higher self, and moving in accordance with the higher self. Beautiful. So that is what I have for you, pile number 2. I hope that this reading helped you out. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Don't forget to check out my podcast, my Instagram, my TikTok. Everything is listed down below for you. And if you would like to, I would certainly appreciate the support. Definitely come and check out the Patreon, where you get exclusive readings, weekly energy updates, horoscopes, journal prompts, bonus content, early access to all of my videos before they come over here to YouTube, and so much more. We have such a fun community there, so I would really love to have you. And if not, and you would still like to support my channel in another way, I also have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal listed down below. I do accept tips for my readings. I do not expect them from you, but I certainly appreciate them. And that's what I got. I love you so, so, so much, pumpkin. Stay cozy and stay authentic. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye. Hello there, beautiful pile number 3. Welcome into your tea, book, and card divination. We are going to get this comforting message from Spirit. And first, let's talk about the tea. So you chose the pink tea set, which many of y'all recognize. It's in my intro for all of my videos currently. And inside we have a butterfly pea tea, which if y'all have never seen this, it's kind of like a purple color. It's like a purple flower, and it makes a really beautiful purple tea. It's hard to see in the cup. It looks almost black, but if you can kind of see like the edging right there, it looks more of a lavender shade. I think it's because the tea is very saturated and this is a very small cup, so it just looks really dark. But basically with this, the tea is actually a tea that is meant to ease stress. And so when I was setting the intention with this tea and I was brewing it for you, I was thinking about how could your stress be relieved right now? And honestly, your tea and your cup and everything was really the inspiration for this entire reading. So y'all really brought this one out of the woodwork. So thank you for your energy and for your guidance. I appreciate you and your guides. But I would say first and foremost, if you chose that tea based on intuition, this is a sign that maybe you're holding a lot of stress in your body or in your energetic field. And I hope that as you listen to this reading, we can really start to relieve that. So let's go ahead and talk about the cards. We have some out and then I have more that I'll put down. So we have deep cellular healing, Arcturus energy, physical and emotional healing. Double mission, Lightworker Starseed, serving the world by being you. Cosmic Heart, which says devotion, potency, make your life a moving prayer. And Earthed, learning how to be human in the world, but not of it. And I feel like the message right off the bat here for you, pile number 3, is that you really have a sensitive soul. And I feel like those of you that chose this pile, you might even be more connected to my channel than like you are connected to my channel, because like this pile also definitely feeds off my energy. Like I'm also a highly sensitive person. And so a lot of that energy gets put into my readings. And for you, this is like with double mission, having that sensitive space, sometimes it can feel like being in this world is very, very, very hard. Because, I mean, come on now. We have the whole argument of people saying, like, oh, y'all are just snowflakes, when in reality, we just want to exist in a different way of being. And we're not snowflakes. If anything, the only way I'm taking up the label of snowflake is that they are beautiful and unique. And that is true. They are beautiful and unique. But it's not meant to be a negative thing. It's like when people say that you're too sensitive, which you've probably been called. It really is a compliment when you think about it. Like, they're meaning it in a negative way, of course, but it's really a compliment that you are willing to be so open-hearted and you're willing to hold the container so big that you don't let the world crush you and make you not sensitive, basically. And we need more of you in this world. You are so vital to the planet and to the evolution of human existence. And we are bringing and birthing something new into this world. Now, with deep cellular healing, you are somebody that I think you might even have a small link maybe to like pile number 1 as well. If you felt called to both, definitely go back and listen. But you are definitely somebody that you are on the mission to heal in this lifetime. And maybe it is like, that's why you have the family that you have, or that's why you've been led into the situations that you've been led into. But you really are on the path and the mission of healing. And because you heal, that healing energy spreads out to every person that touches you. And with the cosmic heart, to give this more of like a gentle nature to it, I read like the coolest thing this week, and I wish I had the deck in here because I would show it to you. I feel like it's also a card for you. That's why it popped up into my consciousness right now. But you really are bringing this time into your life where you are going to be so connected with your spirituality, with your spiritual team, with who you are, that you will worry for nothing. Because it's kind of like saying, like, let's take, for example, finances, because I know a lot of us struggle with financial stuff. Let's say that you're struggling with finances. It's like saying, oh, that doesn't matter because the universe is my bank. But like actually believing that the universe is your bank, not just saying it just to say it. Does that make sense? Like, you are stepping into this time period in your life where you're not going to have to worry about not having enough money, or not being able to house yourself, or not being able to have the love and support of others around you, or anything that like aches your soul. You're coming to a place where you're able to just surrender it so freely. And when it says make your life a moving prayer, that doesn't mean you have to pray to God. You could be praying to your higher self, source, the universe, whatever it is that calls to you and makes you feel good and lead your most highest vibrational life. I believe we're all talking about the same thing. But when you do this and you really turn it over and surrender and try not to grip so hard and hold on to fear, you're going to find that it's so much easier as a sensitive, highly sensitive, or even a starseed to exist here, because you are divinely protected and taken care of. Do you really think that Source or God or the universe would bring you in here and not protect you? I just want that to sink in with you for a moment, because I just got the full body chills when I said that. You literally are so protected. And with Earth, the reason I'm saying that is we have this girl coming down into Earth inside of like a glittering bubble. Like, your energy is so necessary and needed. Of course you would be divinely protected to go about your mission. And even if it doesn't feel like it in this moment, maybe you're really bogged down with what other people say or think about you, or certain situations in your life just don't seem like they're working out. You are so protected, and this is only coming to your attention because it is requiring healing of you, so you can continue to be open and be sensitive, because people need you and you need you. And you will, like, I feel like the path of a highly sensitive, sometimes it feels like you're walking through life like a toddler. Like, and I don't mean that like you're immature. I mean that everything just feels like it hurts. Like you see the pain in other people and you feel it. Or you see the pain in global situations and you feel it. And you feel so affected by it that it constantly throws you off balance. But that is also innately learning to be human. It just might take a little bit more time because you are so willing to bleed for people and for the world. And you are going to be able to balance that. You came here to have this double mission, and it's not a curse, it is a blessing. And look at this. You have the Two of Diamonds, the Four of Cups. So this Four of Cups tells me that we don't see it like a blessing. We see it right now like it's a curse. But the Two of Diamonds says that you will learn how to balance this, because the Two of Diamonds is balancing everything. So right now you're still figuring it out. You're still weighing things out. You're still maybe experiencing life caught between two extremes. One of my closest friends recently explained to me that sometimes kind of feels like what life is like if we have a balancing scale, right? And we go to one extreme, feeling all the feelings, right? Way up here. And then we have this one coming down here. And then we're like, oh, no. That needs to come down. Maybe we feel a lot less. And then we end up bringing our other scale way up here. And eventually, as you kind of pivot between these two ways of being, you're going to hit that center balance. But of course, as life goes, you might get a little off balance here and there, and that's okay. You're coming into balance now of this human experience as well as this highly sensitive or even starseed experience. We have the Five of Swords, and we have the Strength card. Listen, you're hurting. I can tell that you're hurting because the Five of Swords is pain. It is hurting. It is everything hurting, maybe even feeling like you're caught in your own self-sabotage and you're hurting yourself over and over again. And Spirit, I know that this is a very hard message to hear, because I don't think every single thing that we experience has to be packaged in a beautiful bow sent off in the clouds. And it, like, sometimes you don't have to have a thing, right? Sometimes situations are just really hard. But what you're experiencing right now and what you're needing comfort from, Spirit is reminding you that you're going through this because you are learning to be your highest self. You are learning how to be of higher consciousness for yourself. Ultimately, this is so hard to explain. It's hard to explain because, you know what? I'm just gonna stop trying to stipulate it, and I'm just gonna let the channel come through. I've said this before, but when you channel messages from divinity, sometimes they come through and your personhood self, like myself, tries to stipulate it and like control how it comes out. And I honestly believe that like the better the reader, the more they are willing to just let things flow out without stipulating. So we're just going to stop doing that. Whew, let that go. I'm just going to say what comes out. So it's almost like if you listen to your own thoughts, which all of us have the ability to do, to listen to your own thoughts. Let's say you think a really negative thought and it just keeps pushing through and keeps pushing through and keeps persisting. Oh, I'm worthless. Oh, I'm worthless. Oh my gosh, I can't do anything right. Yada, 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 right? Your higher mind, your higher self is always there, available to be accessed. And when this Strength card comes out, this is you. You are your higher self. Your higher self is not a different person from you. Your higher self can come through and say, hey there, unworthy thought. Hey, I see you. I see you, and I'm going to make space for you. And it's okay that you're here, but actually we're not unworthy. Or, hey, anxious thought that's telling me I need to like overproduce, overwork, do this, and this. It's okay that you're here. I make space for you. I see you. I honor you. But you're doing the best that you can, and it's okay. It's okay to feel how you're feeling. And I feel like that is what the higher self does when we're really, really hurting and we're able to stop and listen. And until you actually experience this, because if you've never experienced sitting with your own thoughts and just being the observer, you're not trying, like, I think when it comes to meditation, even people think that it's about clearing your mind, and you literally can't do that. Your mind is always thinking. It's about not being attached to any of the thoughts that you're having. And this is the same with the higher self. You don't attach to the identity that your ego tries to put on you. And so for you, that's what you're experiencing right now. All of this pain and suffering is coming at you because your higher self is demanding that you pay attention and says, hey, we need to start getting a hold on these. We need to start grabbing these thoughts and reminding ourselves who we actually are. I just got the chills again. I'm getting like a very visual representation of this too. It's very cool. So we also have for you the cards of Speak Truth and Nature. I really think you're linked to pile number 1, pile number 3. So with Speak Truth, this is about speaking your honest truth. Maybe you are also a channeler, and I believe that everybody has the potential to channel if they feel called to do it. I don't think it's a gift that's just given to some people. I believe that everybody can tap into that, but if it doesn't light you up to do it, then it's not the right calling for you. But honing that gift, you have the ability. So you are a channeler if you want to be. But with Speak Truth, this is about speaking your own authentic truth and claiming your sensitivity, claiming your healing, claiming your life as a moving prayer, allowing yourself to exist in this human realm but not be attached to it at the same time. It's a very fine line. And I think there is some fear about people thinking you're crazy or weird or being not accepted. I think that maybe has been a lifetime of this in your current life. It's been really hard to feel accepted in groups or in family because you feel so different based on what you see from everybody else. And the fact of the matter is you are different, but it's not a bad thing. You are unique, but it's not a bad thing. You're here with a beautiful, multifaceted gift. And you need to start speaking that out because I feel like it feels like it's drowning you. But if you actually allow it to speak, if you allow yourself to speak, you'll find that it's actually the most empowering part of you. I promise. I swear. I know it might seem like it's crazy, but I promise, if you enjoy writing, get yourself a good journal for this work. And then we have Nature, which I feel like, especially those of you that don't feel grounded, which I feel like, especially with the Earth card coming out, if you don't feel grounded in your current reality right now, everything feels sky high, anxiety is really high, maybe there's even panic. Now, I am not a medical professional or a psychologist or a psychiatrist, so please do not use my readings in place of those, but nature is going to be your best friend. And even if it's just sitting in your cozy room listening to nature sounds, that will blow your mind how helpful that can be when you are feeling really, 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 really dysregulated. So nature is actually calling to you. Nature wants to heal you and hold you and give you that sense of self and that peace of mind. So if you have access to going to a park or a forest or by some water, wherever nature is that you love to go to, make this a priority right now because that's where the healing can really get in. And if you can't leave your house, I highly encourage just listening to nature sounds on YouTube or watching nature walks, or there are definitely other things you can do. You can work on a little garden. If you have a balcony, you can start depending on the climate where you are right now. But if it allows, you can start planting an herb garden, working with the soil. There are so many ways to go about this. You don't have to do it traditionally, bare feet on grass. Some people are allergic to grass. I think a lot of spiritual teachers forget that sometimes, that what works for one person might not always work for everyone. And I always want to provide you with multiple answers when I can on my channel, because growing up disabled, I know what that feels like to be excluded, even if people weren't doing it on purpose. Sometimes certain things don't work. So if you can't go outside and put your bare feet on the earth, that's okay. There are so many ways to get that grounding practice in. So literally, look at this. Look at this. You got the psychic abilities card. Oops, I almost dropped some cards. You got psychic abilities. I told y'all you were a channeler or you were psychic or something. There was something about being like, you have the ability to channel in messages, which I feel like anytime this comes up, people always say in my comments, they'll be like, if you tell everybody they're a channel, doesn't that make your work obsolete? If my work became obsolete, I would have had a job well done. Like, the end. This isn't about me. This is about y'all and your healing journeys and helping you to guide yourself back to yourself. But you do have psychic gift and psychic ability, and I think that that is becoming more and more pronounced to you, so embrace it. Nature might even play, actually, look at this, 3 eyes on this card, 3rd eye here. Nature is also going to help you open up to more of your psychic gift if you've been trying. So love that for you. Then we have life purpose with more nature, getting out into where you feel stuck and blocked right now, pile number 3. I'm telling you, nature has the answer. You need to go out into the mountains, out into the forest, or get some kind of nature-based practice at home where you can, because nature genuinely has the answers for you. It might be like a book on nature. Maybe there's a documentary on nature. Something about nature has the answers that you're seeking. And then we have good luck. Oh. That's so cute. Your spirit guides show up to you in the form of cats. You might even have a cat that is a spirit guide, but they're literally here just to give you good luck. And like spirit is saying, when you pet cats or like when you pet them, now obviously some people are allergic to cats. Don't pet cats if you're allergic. You might just be seeing them. But those of you that are able to pet cats, like you literally get your energy cleared and more good luck comes to you when you do that and you spend time. Or like listening to cat purring noises raises your frequency into more abundance. That's so cool. So give your cats extra love and cuddles because they're literally your spirit guide. That's so cool. All right, and then we have a couple more cards, and then we're going to get into your book. So we have, you are the truth seeker. Oh, look, speak truth, and we have truth seeker. Awakening, actualizing, and transcending. How can you invite more grace to guide you? I'm telling you, it's through nature. That's where the grace is going to come in. You're awakening to so much more about your life right now. And that's why whenever you enter into a new phase that you're not used to, it usually comes with difficulty if we're really holding on to where we previously were. And the more we let go and let go and let go, the more we can transcend. Actually, let's put this down here. And then we have turn your worry into wonder, surrender to the experience. What possibilities can you dream into reality? So this is about also not allowing yourself to micromanage how blessings and good luck come to you, how good fortune comes to you. Because the more you try to plan for exactly how it's going to come in, the harder the universe the harder it is for the universe to deliver, because the universe does not deliver always in the exact way. And if you cut off all the other opportunity by saying like, no, it has to happen like this, the universe can't bring you things from every direction, if that makes sense. And it's time to get curious and to turn your worry into wonder. I wonder what this is trying to teach me. That's like my favorite phrase when I'm going through a difficult time is, I wonder what this is trying to teach me. What could this experience be trying to gift me with? And when you make that your mantra, oh my gosh, you'll be unstoppable, pile number 3. All right, so lastly, we are going to get into your book divination, whether you are coming to this book portion all on your own because you chose a separate book, or you are listening to the full reading for pile number 3. We're just going to go ahead and ask Spirit to give us the message that we need. Spirit of the highest love and compassion, can you please give us the guidance that we are seeking right now in this book? Give us the correct page so that we may feel guided. Okay. Ooh, I think this is going to be a good one. Okay. Your greatest fear is the gatekeeper to your highest calling. Rule of thumb, the more important a call or action is to your soul's evolution, the more resistance we feel toward pursuing it. Okay, I need to pause this right here. And I just need to tell you how true that statement is. When I first started recording videos on this channel more actively, I think it was back in like 2018 or 19, I kept saying to my husband over and over and over, I'm not going to become a tarot channel. I'm not going to become a tarot channel. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm not doing that. And I don't know why I was in such resistance to it, because I read tarot for myself every day and I loved it. I think I was just scared to make content where I would like be stuck in one category. And lo and behold, look what I do for a living. But the more resistance you have toward it, usually that means you need to lean in. And I have learned that over and over and over again in my life. So let's continue on. Our highest calling is tightly nestled right behind our core of fear. As Stephen Pressfield says, the higher your calling, the more fear you probably have around it. Annoying, but true. When we step into our biggest, brightest, most expansive self, our core fear is always triggered. Core fears are triggered by a childhood experience, and our ego uses these experiences as evidence that we are separate and alone in this world. You are not separate. You are not alone. The ego then creates a script, which plays round and round in your head. By understanding that what our ego script is telling us, we can stop the fear in its tracks and lessen the power it has. Some examples of ego scripts may be, I'm not good enough. I'm bad. I'm unworthy. I'm all alone. There's something wrong with me. Everyone abandons me. I should be ashamed. I'm unlovable. I'm nothing. It's not safe to be me. Which one do you relate to most? Can you track it back to a childhood experience? What's the first time that you recall feeling like this? The more conscious we are, the less power our core fear and ego script have on us over time. My core fear is around rejection, with the scripts of I'm not good enough and it's not safe to be me. It was triggered when I was about 8 years old after being kicked out of my friendship group at school. What was quite a normal childhood experience had a traumatic impact on me. All of a sudden, the way I saw the world changed and my ego script started playing. Looking back, it's the fear of rejection that caused me to go into my spiritual closet and hold off answering my call. And so, when I seriously decided to follow my calling, the fear raised its head big time. In fact, anytime I answer the call of my soul to expand, I can feel it coming, and a voice in my head saying, "Hey girl, who do you think you are?" By now when it comes, I know I'm onto something good. So I let myself feel the fear, state it out loud, either to myself or even better, a good friend. I then ask my younger self, who first experienced the trauma, what she needs to hear to feel supported. If you notice your fear coming up, it's actually a good sign that you're stretching yourself in the right direction. If you were playing it safe and ignoring your call, the ego would have nothing to lose. As you step into your bigness and make the choice to expand, your fears will rise their head. Think of your fears as opportunities to expand rather than things that are holding you back. If you look at your fear in the light, then as uncomfortable as it might feel, it's actually a sign that you are on the right track. My teachers always taught me that if you're not uncomfortable, you're probably not growing, and the whole point of us being here is to grow. When fear comes up, give yourself a high five and say yes to expansion. And then we have work your lights. Look at the ego script, which we just read. Allow yourself to feel that feeling in your body and go back into your first memory of it. It doesn't have to be a conscious memory. It could just be a feeling and an age. Ask yourself, what do I need to hear to feel safe, loved, and supported? Now say this to yourself, as this is probably what you need to hear now. The next time you feel fear coming up, give yourself a high five and then ask this younger version of you what it needs to feel safe, loved, and supported. This book is so good. I will link it down below for you. So that was a beautiful message, I think, to go in conjunction with this reading. Thank you so much for tuning in, pile number 3, or if you were just here to listen to the book, I appreciate you so much. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Don't forget to check out the description bar where I have my podcast, my TikTok, my Instagram. And if you would like to support my channel and all the work I do here, especially to create more readings like this one, make sure you head over to my Patreon, where you get early access to all of my videos, weekly energy updates, readings that you can't get anywhere else, and so much more. We have such a great community on Patreon, and I would love to have you there. And if you would like to support my channel even further, I do have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal listed down below. I do not expect tips for my readings, but I will always graciously accept them. I do pour them back into my channel on cards, tea, flowers, crystals, candles, anything that we use in our readings. Unless you tell me to do something else with it, I always pour it back into the channel. So thank you to those of you that honor that. I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. And I love you so much, Pumpkin. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.